when people say, okay, well, you're a superintendent, you've been a superintendent, what led you to become a superintendent? And they usually expect you to start giving you the resume, and that's not all that interesting to me. The reason I became a superintendent probably is all the way back to my experiences as a student. And growing up, I had my mom and dad who wanted me to go to college because they did not. And they recognized and valued how important education is. And so when I started off in elementary school, I was doing really well, and I was in a school where I felt wanted and welcomed, and I was thriving. And even to the point where they were getting ready to promote me a grade. And how exciting is that? I had my mom and dad in the office with the principal and hearing all these wonderful things about their young son, and I was feeling really proud about that. And then life takes a funny turn, and my dad was in the military, and we took a military tour to England. My mother is British. My dad is from Hazard County, Kentucky. My mom was from Soho, London. We don't have enough time for me to tell you how they got together. But my mom thought, well, okay, rather than skipping a grade, why don't we send him to English school? So I went to Hornja Court, wore a purple blazer. I was excited about the opportunity. But I was in a school that was nothing like I was familiar with. They started school earlier than we did, different curriculum, and quite frankly, because of some anti-American sentiment at the time, it was a school that was not welcoming for a young American student. So I went from a school that I was thriving to a school where I was struggling. I wasn't worried about it because I thought, you know, hey, military assignments last for 2-3 years, I'll be back in American school. And we were, except I'd had 2 or 3 years of lost learning. And then so guess what? They put me in corrective level classes, B level classes, whatever you call them. Most students get in, but they don't get out. And that's when I started to get frustrated. And I started to think maybe I'm not going to be going to college. And actually I started thinking about maybe I'm going to not finish school. And so that was my experience. And that was a different feeling for me. Again, my dad being military, we took another move and ended up in Fairfax County. And my life changed for 2 reasons. 2 teachers, Mr. Cloyd, my English teacher, and Ms. Leach, my math teacher. And they took this young man that was arriving in their school, they were in a team teaching situation, and they saw past all that frustration, they saw something in this young guy, and they invested in me, and they caught me up, they spent a lot of time. And by the time I hit high school, I was taking honors and advanced level courses, and I was the first in my family to go to college, first in my family to graduate college. And it always has made me realize the importance of our public education system, and the most important thing in our public education system is quality teachers. And that's what drives everything I do. And I'd like to tell you, you know, if this was a Marvel movie, you know, I championed to get right into education. I actually didn't. I thought I was going to try to change the world through law, and so I got accepted to law school, and I was going to go do that. Then I had this brilliant idea, well, I can live at home with mom and dad for a year and teach, and then go back to law school. And I think I shared with this board, I'm probably not the smartest person they interviewed because I actually thought you could make money teaching. But I got into teaching and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I taught social studies because I have this deep, rich appreciation of history, taught math because I needed a job. And so I taught and I loved it and it was just joyful. And then I ended up being pulled into administration by a really great principal who came to see me 3 times to tell me he wanted to be a vice principal, and I kept on saying no, and the 3rd time he had 2 words that changed my life: required opportunity, so I became his assistant principal. And then that did lead me to going on to being a middle school principal and a high school principal, an area superintendent, and a superintendent in 2 different districts. And when people look and they see any part of my career and they say, wow, you know, there's a lot of good things that happen. And, you know, there was graduation rate increases and there was academic progress for students and there were all these cool programs. And how did you do that? And I promise you, what I say all the time is I did not do that. I was part of it. I don't ever discount that I played a role in it. But anything I have done as an educational leader, I did through our principals and our teachers and our community. And I believe in that. That's the only way to accomplish this work. And no matter how big or small the school district is, that collaboration, that need to partner, that need to get advice and guidance from our community, and that need to continually communicate and to listen and learn never goes away. And so I'm really proud of the things that have been accomplished, but it's all through our educators and our teachers. And as a superintendent, you are a servant leader. And the way I look at the organization of a school district is very simple. In the center are our students. They are our customers, if you want to think of it like a business. Then around those teachers are students are our teachers. And they are the most critical component that ensures success. Great teacher in every classroom, all kids are learning. not supporting teachers in a classroom, and no matter how many crazy cool programs you have, you're not going to be at the level of success that you want. That next ring is support staff, and that's your custodial, your building service workers, your bus drivers, your cafeterias, and it's your vice principals, it's your principals, and it's your superintendent. We are all in support and service of our educators, and that's just the way I look at this work. So why Montgomery? And you might say, well, hey, I read somewhere he was in the business sector, and that is true. And a really interesting point in my life, I was all set to go consider being a superintendent again, and when I got this opportunity to go into the private sector. And when you're a superintendent, you're always being told by some of the business community, run your school district like a business. And I'm like, okay, well, let me go into the private sector and learn a little bit about that. And I had these great opportunities. I learned a lot, and it was a wonderful experience. But it was something I had never thought I was going to do very long, and I always wanted to get back to something I think is more mission-driven. And so about a year ago, I got home from a trip, and I was sitting at the coffee table with my wife, and my wife is an educator herself. And actually we're high school sweethearts, so we've been together for a long time, and I had this whole explanation of this desire to get back into public education that I thought I was going to have to convince her. And I kind of started, and what was that Tom Cruise movie, You Had Me at Hello? She said, you're going back, and I'm like, yeah. And she goes, okay. And so that's when I decided, all right, I want to get back into public education. So I started talking to some of the different search firms, including the one that your board hired, and they immediately started talking to me about the big districts across the country and which ones will be open and where it might be a fit. And I was very quick to say, that's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for a different experience, and I'm looking for a couple things. I want a community that really not only supports its public education system, but wants and demands excellence. That's really important to me. Next thing is I want an experience where you can really develop deep relationships. Not that you can't in a bigger district, but it's just different to do that deeper, more collaborative work in a smaller opportunity, something that was just really, really appealing. And then I said, I want to be in a community where they want big things for their school district. And so as I was talking with your teachers today, and one teacher said, well, we are a premier school district in the state of Texas. I'm like, yes, you are. But your board, and I believe this community, wants to be the premier school district in Texas. And so Jim Collins in the book Good to Great would say that's a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, but I think it's a crazy cool goal. So that's why I'm so excited about this opportunity. Now, what's the vision? What do you want to accomplish? There's all sorts of things that I have hopes and dreams, as you have hopes and dreams, but the short-term vision is we have to get school, and that's coming soon. And the opening of school is never easy. I don't care how big or small the school district is. It's always a challenge. Hundreds and thousands of kids that you're trying to get into, a number of different buildings, teachers, buses going everywhere. And somehow every year we're able to accomplish that in 15,000 school districts across the country. But this year is just going to be different with COVID. And so how do we safely get our students and staff back? How do we follow the guidelines coming down from TEA and the governor? Every minute I've been in this building, I've been in a meeting with Ann and staff trying to think through that. Tomorrow we've got a meeting with our principals coming in, and it's our goal and intent very quickly to get you the best plan that we can come up with the available information that we have. So the first goal, short term, is make sure we're getting our students and staff safely back into school, that we are trying to think of every contingency if we have to shut down again or we have to pivot to more online learning. So that is the first thing I'm going to focus on. But the nice thing is the board has given two directives, and that is we will have a balanced budget, and with the good work that Dr. Dixon and the senior team have been doing with the principals, we're very close to accomplishing that, so I need to complete that work with her. And then the next goal is the one that's really important, is how are we going to be very competitive with our surrounding districts with teacher pay. As I have reached out to these 84 individuals in the community and I ask, what do you love about MISD? It does not take more than 2 or 3 seconds for people to say, our teachers. And when I ask, what are you concerned about? It's not too long before I hear our teachers leaving to a surrounding school district because of pay. So our board has said that we're going to have a balanced budget, and we are going to have our pay rate very competitive so our teachers feel that there's no place they'd rather be than right here. So those are my to-do lists that are short term. There are some others, but I'm going to do some more listening and learning, hear what it is that you want from this public education system, and we're going to develop those hopes and goals and dreams, those BHAGs together.